So why did Joe Rogan leave YouTube? Okay, maybe you're thinking it was for the money, which was pretty much what everyone was thinking when he announced his $100 million exclusive deal with Spotify. But there's another reason for the move that Joe himself gave this week on his podcast, and this is what he said. It's a weird time when someone can just decide that they just don't like you, or what you're doing is problematic. And with that, he's talking about YouTube. It's one of the reasons why I went to Spotify. So what was Joe's issue? It was that gray area of what was okay content and what was not. What would you get banned for or given a strike for, and what you wouldn't? And also, what would YouTube actually be okay putting ads onto as a video, and what would they not? He goes on to say there were some weird shenanigans they would do with demonetizing specific episode just randomly, and we would question it. Basically, demonetizing, he'll say, was a way of censoring people without actually censoring people. So what do you think? How big do you think this arbitrary censorship issue is in Joe's decision? Go ahead and post your comments down below on what you think, and also whether or not you were subscribed to Joe, and whether or not you have actually followed him over to Spotify or not. To me, there's something much bigger going on here. Joe himself hints at this when he says about the demonetizing, it's not a primary concern, but it points to an issue. And the issue is someone being able to dictate what you can or can't talk about, or someone incentivizing you to talk about something or not talk about something. I don't want to be a part of that. So look, there's two massive waves that are colliding together right now, and it affects you whether you're a creator, a subscriber, or just an anonymous viewer. Talking of which, why be an anonymous viewer if you can be a subscriber? So if you haven't yet done so, please do click the subscribe button and you'll get all the good stuff that I'm going to be sharing, especially about these two massive waves. One wave is the wave of money, and the other wave is the wave of control. And what happens with these waves depends on what we do next. So first, let's look at this wave of money. No, Joe didn't leave YouTube just for the money, but he didn't leave just for the censorship either, because he could have insisted with Spotify to have a non-exclusive deal if he really wanted to. But he got paid more to make it exclusive, so it was kind of a little bit of both. But while $100 million is a huge amount of money, remember that's for a multi-year deal. And there are already YouTubers who'll be earning as much as that just over the next 3 or 4 years. The Forbes list of top 10 highest paid YouTubers just came out. And on that list, last year, Dude Perfect already earned $23 million, Mr. Beast earned $24 million, and Ryan Kaji already earned $29.5 million. And that's just in 1 year. YouTube itself just published a letter saying it had paid more than $30 billion to creators, artists, and others over the last 3 years. That is a massive amount. That's more than $10 billion a year, and the number of creators is still doubling. YouTube already pays out 68% of all its ad revenue to its creators, but in the last year, other companies have been joining YouTube in paying creators as well. In the middle of last year, Instagram began sharing revenue with creators for the first time. It also began targeting TikTok creators with more than 1 million followers to move over to Instagram. And a few months later, TikTok responded by launching a $200 million fund to pay creators. And then 2 months ago, Snapchat followed by saying it would be paying $1 million a day to creators. $1 million a day. This month, TikTok shot back with CEO Kevin Mayer saying its creator fund would balloon from $200 million to $1 billion within 3 years. So basically, if you're a creator, there is a wave of cash from these platforms that's coming your way. And this does mean we're going to see social media creators in the coming years being paid more than Hollywood celebrities. And we'll see more $100 million deals just like the one Joe Rogan got. And by the way, those deals may not be coming from Spotify. In this article, did Spotify waste $1 billion on podcasts? The Motley Fool showed how Spotify spent close to $1 billion in the last 2 years on exclusive deals with big names like Joe Rogan, Michelle Obama, Kim Kardashian. But these hadn't changed the percentage growth in paying subscribers, which was just 27% last year compared to 31% the year before. And the biggest story on all of this is how Facebook, Google, Twitter are now being left behind by having a model in which they don't pay any creators for their main platforms, even though they do on Instagram and YouTube. And this is where the second wave comes in, the wave of control. So who do you think should control your content and how you make money? Should it be you or should it be the social media platform? You know, something very controversial is happening in Australia right now. This week, Google threatened to shut down its search engine in Australia because the Australian government wants to pass a law where some of the money that Google is making from ads should go to the news agencies whose articles are on Google. And Facebook has already threatened to block all news articles and videos on Facebook in Australia for the same reason. This digital news code that Google and Facebook are against is going through the Australian Parliament right now. And the fight is getting hot. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison just said we do not respond to threats. But wait, this is getting really confusing. Google is happy to pay creators for content on YouTube and make money from ads, but they're not happy to pay the media, which is creating content for Google, even though they're making money from those as well. And same for Facebook. They're happy paying creators on Instagram, but not paying them on Facebook. So this is getting really messy, which is why you can forgive Joe for taking his content and control together with him to Spotify. In Google's case, on the same day they said they wouldn't pay for news in Australia, they signed a deal with publishers in France to buy news in a deal already worth $1 billion. So there's no black and white on this thing. And if you're wondering, will this mess get sorted out? I actually think it will, because I think we're at the second stage of a 3-stage disruption. In stage 1, platforms win. They get all the control, they get our content for free, they make all the money from us, and we get nothing. This is how Facebook and Google and Twitter and many other social networks and search engines started back in the 2000s and 2010s. Stage 2, which is where we are now, is platform share. They still have control, which is where the problem is, but at the same time, they're now at least sharing the money with us from those ads. This wave is getting huge, by the way, and even Facebook and Google are going to have to be forced eventually to have to share their huge profits with those creating the content. And that's going to lead to stage 3, which is creators win. Just like Joe, we're each going to be able to move to where we have control of our content as well as the cash. And the platforms that give creators this are going to be the ones that win along with the viewers. For the platforms that don't change, they're going to end up dying with their old model. We've already seen massive shifts just this month from like WhatsApp, Twitter, and other platforms where they're actually trying to control our data. So what do you think? Do you agree? Is there light at the end of the tunnel in terms of who is controlling our cash and our content? And if you're still sore at Joe for moving off YouTube, hopefully now you'll cut him a little bit of slack. Go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you are creating your own content, what could you now do with this information, knowing that this third phase is coming? Please give this video a like if you found it helpful, and I will see you on the next video.